Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited to bring you this video because I've wanted to make this for a while and I procrastinated, but I have a new morning routine and I've been able to structure my life a little bit more and be a little bit more organized with my goals and my dreams, and it's been great because I've been able to put out more content on my website and on my Instagram. So it's exciting. But anyways, I finally got around to making the bullet points of kind of what I want to talk about for this video, which is kind of just my experience with being an INFJ. I love that there's like this community on YouTube, not for just INFJs, but for kind of pretty much all personality types, but especially INFJs. What's extra special is that we are known for feeling so different from the rest of society, growing up being genuinely and generally just being a lot different from the rest of the world. So we can grow up kind of feeling isolated and feeling like aliens and feeling different. But on YouTube, there's this community over the years that's built up, and it's becoming more and more. As more and more people are learning about the Myers-Briggs test, more and more people are learning that they're not alone and they're not these weirdos. Their brains just function differently. And I've watched some of those videos and felt very, not only inspired, but also felt like, wow, there's other people whose brains work, very similarly to mine, if not exactly, very, very close to mine. I've seen things that people have said that I'm like, I thought I was the only one feeling this way or doing these things, which may sound strange to some people, but when you grow up feeling like, damn, like I don't really connect with anybody on a deep level, and then you see that there's other people that feel this way and that their brains work so similarly to yours, it's very refreshing. So I wanted to kind of do my part, and that's why I wanted to make this video for anyone else that I can, maybe there's an INFJ. I have actually gotten messages from INFJs on Instagram who have told me how much my videos have resonated with them. I have one video where I briefly touch on being an INFJ, but I don't really get in depth with it, and I don't really go into detail with my experiences. But just from that video alone, people have DM'd me, even recently. So I want to put this out there as a dedication to my real INFJ brothers and sisters. And even if you're not INFJ, I think this would be great for you to watch and enjoy, because you can kind of learn not only how my brain works, but how other people's brains work, and maybe there's something that you can still learn from a lesson or anything like that. I think if I watch personality type videos of other personality types, there's always something that you can learn from. Humans are so fascinating, and there's so much to learn from people. So if you don't know what the personality types are, what this even means, or if you think that it's just like some joke, the Myers-Briggs personality type personality test is backed by years of research and science, and it's very accurate, I would say. When I read it, I couldn't believe. It was like an awakening for me almost. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it was great to know, like, whoa, this makes so much sense. In my life, like, started putting, pieces together. I'm going to leave the link in the description for the personality test so you can take it, just in case you're not familiar with it. Also, I just wanted to put out this little disclaimer. Hopefully this video is not too long. I'm already 4 minutes in and I haven't even begun. But I also want to say that I think some people, when I read comments, they take this personality stuff so deeply, almost to the point where they start to try to inherit traits of how they should be. There's a difference between a healthy and unhealthy any person. Doesn't even matter what the personality type is. You should take this on as, if this is something that resonates with you, being an INFJ or being an INFP or being anything, any of these personality types, there's strengths and there's weaknesses, and I don't think you should use your bad behaviors, use the weaknesses as an excuse for the bad behaviors. You should just learn. We can all improve, we can all change, we can all evolve. So take what you can from, my video and from the videos you see and from the personality test, but don't let it identify you. Don't fully immerse yourself in this identity where now it's like, I am an INFJ, I am an alien, I am weird. I see some people doing that on YouTube, and I'm not going to call anybody's. Everyone's journey is different, so I'm not going to call out any names. Everyone's experience is different, everyone's emotions are different, everyone's path is different, obviously. That's a given. But I think everyone's goal should just be to continue to strive to evolve and to be a better person. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think you guys get what I'm saying. Alright, so now for the video. So one of my earliest experiences, realizing that I guess I was different. I didn't realize at that age that I was different, but I was like 6 or 7 years old and I used to be in the Boy Scouts. And I grew up in this same apartment that I'm living in right now with my grandparents. I haven't been here my whole life, but I recently come back, and I remember, it's gonna sound so weird. I just got the chills. My grandfather picking me up from Boy Scouts. It was like evening. It was like late. I think I could see the stars, which is kind of rare for New York City. And we were walking a few blocks away from the school that we would do the Boy Scout meetings at or whatever. And I remember feeling like an actual alien. I felt like I came up with this concept that the entire world knew something about me that I didn't. Like, it was everyone's job around me to keep the fact that I was an alien and that I was from a different planet a secret. So I basically came up with this concept that when I was looking straight, there was people behind me, like, okay, like basically planning, how are we gonna make it so that he never finds out, like, till he dies, basically. That's how different I felt. I literally, and I carry that concept with me for a while. I would say even probably a few years, and then it would come and go as I got older. But I felt so different from people at such a young age, from other kids, that I felt like, maybe my mom and my dad are not really my mom and my dad. I come from another planet, and I'm just here kind of like living this human experience, and everyone just knows something that I don't. And that's because I felt like everybody else was in sync but me. I'm realizing that now as an adult. Everyone there was just these things that they would do that they just knew how, and I couldn't function that way, and I just was so weird and outlandish, and like, so I remember from a really young age, that was one of my first, that's as an adult looking back now, that's one of the first times where I was like, now looking back, I'm like, wow, yeah, that was my experience, that was me, and I held on to that. I know that sounds like kind of funny, and it even sounds funny to me. It almost can sound like narcissistic and like egotistical, like, oh, everyone's doing this for me, but that's not where it was coming from at all. It genuinely was coming from this place of, I don't even know how to put it into words. I just felt so different. And to this day, I still feel different, but I know that people aren't, I'm an adult now, so I know people are planning to keep everything a secret from me. Another experience I remember having was in preschool. I remember when they would ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? I remember literally saying I wanted to be an astronaut. That was like my first goal. And that was, of course, until I learned that to be an astronaut, it's not just getting into space, it's math and it's science, which happens to be my worst. Math and science are like my worst subjects. I've always been a lot better with like writing and whatnot, but just the concept of like being out in space and looking down at not everybody but just the world and other planets, like that was so attractive to me. The thought of like being away from everybody and just being in my own bubble just felt like home to me. It didn't feel scary like it might to other kids. I liked it, and I realized as I've gotten older, like I do like dark, secluded places. Not dark in energy, but dark in just like, I like going to restaurants where the light is dim. I like really intimate, romantic, one-on-one kind of vibes. That's just who I am. But yeah, so I wanted to be an astronaut until I realized what it actually entailed. But I mentioned that to kind of like put it into perspective, like me kind of being away from the world. That's kind of like my tribe when I go to a party. When I go to a party, you'll never catch me like on the dance floor. As a matter of fact, I don't really go to parties at all anymore. I gave that up years ago because it's just not my vibe. But if someone drags me out once in a blue, or if I just decide to go for whatever reason, I've always felt so different from everybody all the time. Even if people found me attractive, even if whatever the case, I just felt like, oh my god, my brain isn't functioning like everybody else is, and I just feel weird. Without even really being able to put that into words like I can now, I just knew I didn't belong. Whenever you go to a party, there's people in the middle, but you're more likely to catch me with the people that are like around, just kind of sitting down, kind of lonely into themselves. I love connecting with those people, and sometimes, and I've learned, like I said, you learn and you become a healthier, better person, but I would get really deep and personal with these people, and a lot of times they would love it. Maybe not personal, but I would love to have like deep conversations with them about like everything happening for a reason, and the law of attraction, and spirituality. Like that's where my heart is, and that's what I love to talk about and experience the most. I feel so good talking about spirituality and faith and overcoming obstacles. So yeah, it's kind of like if you think about, being in a spaceship and kind of looking down at the earth and being away from everybody, being on the outside looking in, which is what a lot of INFJs go through. We live our lives kind of from the outside looking in and looking next to us and seeing what's going on. So we're always like on the outside, and that's how I am in every situation, whether it's work, whether it's parties. I've always been that guy, and I've always built the best connections with other people that were around me. And maybe those were INFPs and other INFJs and whatnot. There's a balance needed in society, and I feel like INFJs were sprinkled in different areas of the world for a reason, just to kind of help balance things out. Because I think if there was a lot of us, the world would be, if there was more of us, like let's say we were 50% of the population, that might be a bit much. But I do think all the personality types are needed, whether you're 40% of the population or like an INFJ where we're less than like 1% of the population. Throughout the years of my life, I lived a very like secretive, in my head life. I kind of felt like my brain, before even watching The Matrix, which is my favorite movie, I felt like my brain was just the Matrix in a sense, or like I was in the Matrix. And I was just different from everybody else. I had this deep sense that I was supposed to be different and that I was different, and there was a reason for this. And that's because I was, that's because we are, as INFJs, we don't necessarily fit in. As I got older though, what started to happen is I started to learn, as we do, start to learn how to kind of be like other people. So we kind of do this thing where we can kind of become, I don't want to say actors, but literally pick up personality traits from different types of people. So in school, I may have certain friends that were very popular, and then I would have friends that were not popular and that were picked on. And so I could hang around all these different types of people, and I touched on this in another video before. I could hang around with so many different types of people that had nothing in common, and I can get along with all of them so great to the point where they almost couldn't comprehend when they would catch me with the other person why I was with them. It's like, and I didn't understand why that wasn't attractive to them. Like, oh, that would, to me, if I saw someone that could do that so well, that would be very attractive to me. I would want to be that person's friend. But to them, it was weird. And school was very hard for me, socially, as I got older, and society started to creep in, and I had to kind of be cool, and like I was getting bullied and picked on. I dropped out of high school at 16 years old because I was bullied really, really badly. Actually, 15 years old, and I got my GED when I was 16. School was very hard for me because kids in general are hard and mean and cruel. But to go through that while also feeling so different from your friends, from your family, like the people that I was the closest to and could relate to the most, or the beings, the living things that I was the closest to, were basically my dogs. Like, they couldn't talk back. They were loyal and affectionate. I didn't have a friend like me, Not to say I always had terrible friends, but my standards were very low, and a lot of my self-esteem was stripped from me from a very young age from school, because we are such kind-hearted, loving people at our core. And when that's taken away from you and you don't understand why, and your brain is trying to figure out why you're so different subconsciously, sometimes you don't even know that that's what your brain's trying to do, I mean, that can be really rough. And I'm so grateful that I was never suicidal, because my schooling years were a bit much for me. But as I've gotten older, I've learned the beauty in my experiences and the fact that I can obviously help people through these experiences that I've had and relate to so many people. So many people have been bullied, and that's why I'm so passionate about, not only because I'm an INFJ and we are such giving, nurturing people, but that's only my experiences of being bullied and whatnot have only amplified my desire to make change and be the light in someone's life, Of course, there has to be balance with that. I always talk about balance, because we can be so good at that we don't take care of ourselves. That's another problem that INFJs have. We have identity crisis issues. We're so good at connecting with so many different types of people. I can hang out with the CEO of a company. I can hang out with a friend in the projects. I can hang out with, someone from the suburbs who's just, whatever. They've only seen like luxury in their life. And I can get along with them so well and become so similar to them in a sense, even though I always feel different, and I still always feel like there's a bit of an act going on, but it's not fake, it's just who I am. I'm so good at being all those different types of people that it's like, well then who the am I? Like, who do I get to be? What are my cores? What are my values? Who am I the most comfortable being? And that's why my energy changes so much from video to video sometimes, because if I'm talking about something where I'm passionate and being a little bit aggressive about it, maybe a little bit more of my New York street side comes out, because that's a very real aspect of who I am. And then I could talk about, something about spirituality, and I'm talking more Zen. But that's not me being fake or acting. That's genuinely just a different part of my personality. And this is, I think, part of the life's work of an INFJ, and probably something that we never stop doing till the day we die, really. We get better and better and better at it, but we're always figuring out exactly what our purpose is and exactly who we are and how we can improve and how we can be more ourselves. That is the work of an INFJ. I think all the personality types have inner work that they focus on, or they should be. That is what it is with an INFJ. That's why I'm so happy that I figured this out, that it's not just something wrong with me, it's that it's my personality type. That's why these personality tests are so amazing, because they can teach people, like, you're not alone, this is how your brain works, and that's okay. I thought something was actually wrong with me. I thought I was going to a midlife crisis at 20 something, and it's just, that's not the case. It's just how my brain functions and how it works. Another experience I've had was always feeling very, very mature for my age, or not feeling, but actually being very mature for my age. I remember my teachers wanted me to skip the second grade. They would talk to my mom in parent school teacher conferences, and they would ask her, why don't you have him skip a grade or two? He's so advanced. My schooling went down as I started getting bullied when I got older. I couldn't focus in school with work. But when I was younger, really young, third grade and before, teachers would literally tell students, if you have any questions, come up to me, or if Eric is free, feel free to go to him and ask him a question. So I had these peers around me that were my age, and I would help them if the teacher was already helping another student. Like, Eric, how do you do this, or how do you spell that? I remember this one girl coming up to me. Why do I have this memory, and why did it come up to me? I really have such weird photographic memory. This one blonde girl, she had green eyes, she had frizzy blonde hair. It was in a ponytail. I remember her going, Eric, how do you spell cat? I don't know if this was preschool or kindergarten or something. I was like, C-A-T. And I, for some reason, never forgot that. Maybe that was because that was the same day, the first day the teacher told the class to ask me if they have any questions. But that's just so funny. That's so cute to me, that memory. But I remember, fourth grade, I had a teacher, Mrs. Gates, still my favorite teacher to this day. I've had her on Twitter, actually. I don't know if I still have her there. I have to check, actually. Maybe she has Instagram now. But in fourth grade, I made her cry when I wrote her a letter, because I think she was leaving the school. I think they had let her go. She was gonna get fired or something. I don't fucking know. But they gave her a few weeks, and we all wrote her letters and gave her gifts. And mine, she read it in front of the class, and she started to tear up. And I remember people looking at me damn, Eric, you're a good writer. For such a weird, what I got from what they were thinking and looking at me, thinking, was basically Eric, for such a weird person, you're really deep. That's what my life has been, a lot of being weird, but then people looking at me he has this weird brain going on, this weird thing in his head going on, because I would write a status on Facebook that's a paragraph long about something that I was really passionate about, and it would get 100 shares. Quickly. People would be oh my god, this is deep, this is exactly how it should have been said. And it was always about something about justice or spirituality, and that's just always been something that's been what I was the most into. So my brain has always been a little bit more advanced than my age. I've had a very old soul from a very long time. So, when I was 19, my ex was 29 years old, 10 years older than me. I've just always been attracted to things that are a little bit more seasoned and mature. I love talking to older people. I love their wisdom. So that's just another aspect of me. I don't know if any other INFJs are like that or can relate, but that's a big one for me. I already kind of touched on friends, but that's another one. Friends, I've always felt different from my friends. I've had close friends, but I've always felt like the person that was the extra or the outside all the time. The only time I would feel really close to a friend when it was just us one-on-one, and I can see that they were being fully themselves. We're really good. It's almost like an ability. It's a gift. We feel what people are feeling, and we know how, because other people's emotions have such an impact on us, it's important for us to make sure that everybody else feels good, just so that we can as well. We want them to feel good because we have that humanitarian aspect, but we also want to feel good. So when I could be one-on-one with somebody and see that they're fully opening up, those were the moments in friendships growing up that I've lived for. And that's what most people have loved me for. I've always had people tell me that their parents loved me. Even when we would have a falling out, my mama would always tell me, you were a really good friend and that I should have kept you around as a friend. Again, that goes back to the maturity thing and being more mature for my age. That has always been something that I've noticed is that, yeah, with friends, I've always been a little bit of the weird extra guy, and sometimes I've had very unhealthy friends because I wanted to fit in. That just comes with the territory. I'm proud of all of those. I'm proud and happy that I've experienced all of those things because they're part of what makes me who I am today. I'm looking at the time, and that's why I keep looking over here, by the way. I have like 5 minutes left, and I gotta get this wrapping up because I don't want to cut this off and have to pick up where I left off. So the last point that I wanted to make as far as like one of my experiences is music. I forgot what his name is, but it's an INFJ. He was talking about his ability to feel music, and I am the same way, and I've always been that way. I can hear, it would make my mom sick and my sister sick sometimes because I could listen to the same song over and over again because I want to feel that feeling again, and I can stimulate that feeling in my brain. So if I listen to, like, there's a song by Mariah Carey called Outside where she's describing basically my life, basically being on the outside looking in and always feeling very different. And that's just one of many songs. There's songs that are hip-hop, there's songs that are like Europop and hip-hop and rap and R&B and even country songs that I listen to certain songs and certain lyrics and I literally feel it in my blood and in my veins, and I get the chills. And everyone gets the chills from songs, but it's deep with me. It can actually change my mood so drastically. I kind of see that as like a superpower. I think for INFJs, if we can make playlists for different moods, for when we're depressed or for when we're happy, or when we want to be happy and we want to stimulate those feelings, because we have those brains, we have brains that are so into like feelings and emotion, and we're so like intuitive and in our head all the time. We can if we learn how to be healthier, we can start to use those things as advantages. And when we want to feel confident, we can have a playlist of confident songs. I have a happiness playlist. It's called Happiness, Peace, Love, and Positivity on my iPhone, and that playlist, whenever I just want to kind of be myself, that's like the truest version of myself. And it has songs like Golden by Jill Scott and what's that song? It's hanging by a moment. I forgot I think it's Lighthouse. I may have said that completely wrong. But I have like a whole bunch of, it's different genres, but it's just music that makes me feel so positive. It allows me to be more myself and in my element, especially when I'm alone. So pay attention to that if you're an INFJ. Pay attention to the music you listen to, the TV that you're watching, because that has a major impact on our brain, because we pick up on things very easily and very seriously. In conclusion, I really have like 2 minutes left. In conclusion, I just wanted to say that if you are an INFJ and you're watching this, or if you're any of the personality types, understand that the weaknesses of your personality are just things that you can work on and continue to improve and better yourself with. They're not death sentences. They are not something that you have to stick to and understand that that's going to be you for the rest of your life. It may be a way that your brain functions, but all human beings have the capacity to change and to evolve. So that's very important. I want to say that I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago, and 5 years before that, or even 2 years ago. I've improved and I've changed upon my weaknesses, and I encourage you and everyone to do the same, and just when you do better, you feel better. So that's very important. If you liked this video, I would love for you to like, comment, subscribe, press the notification bell so that you can be notified when I make a new video. Follow me on Instagram at Eric Sanchez with the number 3. You know what? I'm just gonna write it down over here instead of trying to spell it out to you. I'm just getting nervous because I literally see the timer running out. Please leave a comment. I love interacting with you guys. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for you. It doesn't matter if one person watches my video and comments. That means that one person was affected by something that I said, and that's more than enough for me. As an INFJ, I love that human interaction, and I love that special connection that I have with people and being able to help anybody and make them see things differently. So thank you so much for watching, and until the next time that we meet again, peace. I'm such a weirdo.